Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Cave Hill Dairy Farm Virtual Chat. I am Brittany with the Discover Dairy Program, and we are so excited that you are joining us today as we get to meet Farmer Courtney and, of course, your adorable calves, Autumn and Pinky. First, this live chat is part of the Adopt a Cow program. More than 43,000 teachers and 1.7 million students joined the fund for free this year, thanks to our generous supporters like the Dairy Alliance and the Dairy Excellence Foundation. If you'd like to join the fund next year, registration and re-enrollment starts on May 1st. You can go to discoverdairy.com/adopt, and there you can log in, simply click re-enroll, and then you are part of the program for next year. And again, that starts May 1st. Next today, as you can tell, this event is completely live. We are live on YouTube and Facebook. You are welcome to join us and go ahead and use that chat to let us know you're here. We are so excited to hear your questions, and I know Farmer Courtney is excited to hear from you as well and answer them. Now, before we go over to Farmer Courtney, let's see who is joining us today. So let's check out that chat. We've got right in the very beginning of the day, we had hello from VB. Our class is excited to see Pinky. Hello and good morning. We're excited to have you, Miss Golding. We also have some folks from FBCE. They're excited to see Autumn and Farmer Courtney. I know we are too. Hello and welcome. Got some folks from Vienna who also adopted Pinky. Hello. Good morning from CVA fourth graders in Chesapeake. Hello and good morning. Miss Kleiko's class from King William, Virginia. Excited to see Pinky. We've got a pre-K class in Fredericksburg. We've got Mrs. Nace's second grade class in Prince George. And how about a little bit down further here, Mrs. King's class and Mrs. Shepherd's class in Buchanan. Hello and good morning. And let's see. One more from Good Morning from Rural Retreat, Virginia. Hello and good morning, all. We're so excited to have you. I can see many more of you joining on here today. Oh, we've got some high schoolers on here with us today, too. Hello, we're excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining us and spending a couple minutes with us this morning, getting to meet Farmer Courtney and, of course, your calves. So speaking of Farmer Courtney, I'm excited to introduce you to her. Hey, Farmer Courtney, how are you doing today?
Hey guys, I'm doing pretty good. Kind of being attacked by one of our lovely little Angus crosses here. Pinky and Autumn are actually side by side right now, hanging out next to the feed rack. Pinky decided to take a little break this morning. They've been up eating and playing around. That Angus, we just call him number 14, so he's going to be very much alive in this chat today. But Autumn and Pinky very much are like best friends in this group. Every picture I've taken with them, they're normally right together, and this is just a great example of how they've always been. So, but yeah, so I'm Farmer Courtney. Welcome to Cave Hill Dairy Farm. I'm located in Botetourt County, Virginia. So when I was hearing Buchanan and Rural Retreat, I'm like, well, I know exactly where that is. I graduated from
That's
Virginia
awesome.
Tech back in 2018. So I've been to Rural Retreat a few times, had a lot of good friends down that way. So I've also kind of traveled around the state here and there with different projects. So it's really great to hear all those great schools. I'm really excited today to do this chat with you guys. But yeah, so welcome to Cave Hill Dairy. Pinky and Autumn are now right at the, I guess, 8-month stage because they were born
Yeah.
back in September. Hard to
My
believe how
goodness.
much they've grown.
Right.
They are in one of our oldest barns on the farm. This barn was actually half of it was built back in the 1800s.
Wow.
And so, like I said, they're always side by side, but there are
Oh.
10 others in this group with them. I'm going to show you guys the feed that we give them. I'm going to show you guys how we feed them, and they'll probably come over when I actually put some grain out for them.
Oh,
But
that's
Cave Hill Dairy
exciting.
Farm, yeah, it's an exciting time. So, but yeah, so this whole group has been really nice and calm all morning. This group's just always been a good group to work with. They were some that I got to work with personally this summer, which I don't usually get to do. So on Cave Hill Dairy Farm, it is a family-run operation. I am the 5th generation on the farm. My dad and granddad and I run it together. We also have another full-time employee, and I also have a girl that milks with me every day. So the way that the farm works is I am usually always in the parlor. I do basically anything else I need to outside, but my main focus is milking the cows and making sure that we are taking care of them properly. My father is the one that mostly takes care of the baby calves. He makes sure that they get what they need when they first are born, and he gives them the milk and makes sure that they have everything they need. And if he has a sick one, he and I work to just determine what is causing them to be sick and how we can fix it. And calf care is the number one priority for us. So my granddad, he comes in, he's 86 now. So he gets on a tractor, he puts hay out for cows, and basically he does whatever needs to be done that he can do. So we enjoy having him out here, and we're just glad that he still comes around. Our full-time employee, he does all of the older calves, so he's actually in charge of feeding this group every morning. So he's already fed this group this morning. You can kind of tell there is a water trough off to the side that we fill up twice a day for these calves. There's also a bale of hay over there that they get to eat whenever they want to. It's free choice. So we make sure it's always kept full. And then they're fed grain every day too. So, but we all have very
Wow.
important jobs here on the farm, and we all work together to make sure everything works. So,
It's amazing.
yeah.
I love that. And so it sounds like it's definitely a family affair for you all then. And you mentioned this barn is probably from the 1800s. So that means your farm in general has been around for a long time, right?
Yeah, so my farm, we started with registered Holstein calves. This is kind of cool. So the difference between an unregistered and a registered calf back in the day was that you could potentially, if you sold a registered animal, like you could sell them outside the state and all this other stuff too. So we started with registered Holsteins in 1935. We started with 3 Holstein heifer calves, and everything on this farm can be traced back to those original 3. The farm itself, before we went to registered, the farm itself has records back to 1749. So we have
Wow.
been on this property since 1749. Even in just my lifetime, a lot of things have changed. We've built barns, we've taken down old barns, and the overall just aesthetic of the farm has become a little bit different. We were actually taking out a sidewalk yesterday on one of the old houses, and we were pulling up old sandstone where my great great grandfather had actually taken the rocks from the creek and brought up in order to lay a sidewalk. So the
Wow.
history here is just, it's amazing. I love hearing about the history, and it's really cool just knowing that we've been here and been a part of the community for so long.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So.
wonderful. I love that exactly what you said. That's really neat that you've been able to be part of something for so long in that community and care for the community, provide a really awesome product for your community, and just a lot of great things. Thank you for sharing that. Hey, we actually
Yeah.
you mentioned that you went to Virginia Tech and I saw a question come through from Miss Haney. They were curious what you studied at Virginia Tech.
So I started off as a double major in dairy science and food science, and my intention was to get my degree, come back, and start a creamery. But in my 4 years at Tech, we had some family problems. My father broke his back at one point, and so I realized that I don't really have the ability to be in 10 places at once. So I changed my major,
Really?
yeah, because if we would have done the creamery, I would have had to have been milking the cows and working the creamery. And, it's just a little difficult to be in multiple places at once. So
hmm
I took a step back. I'm not saying the creamery is completely off the table, because in the next 15 years, I want to start making cheese on the farm.
Ooh.
Yeah, something a little different. We don't have that here in Botetourt, so I want to kind of bring it in. But I changed my major my sophomore year to dairy enterprise management. So I have both a business and a science degree, not just in dairy. So the cool part about that degree in particular is I can do whatever I want to with it. I have a business degree, so I know a lot about business. So,
Mhm.
but I did that to kind of set me up for life, because as much as I love the cows and all, you never know. Dairy
Yeah.
industry is, it's almost a pun. I always tell everybody it's a very fluid market, because you never know what's going to happen. It's always changing. So, but
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of industries that probably can say the same thing. So it's yeah, you're just preparing yourself for the future, which is a smart thing. Yeah.
yeah, but you guys should see Pinky there in that picture.
Oh.
So Pinky has her and Autumn have always stayed side by side, of course, like I said earlier, but also size wise, they've always been around the same size. I think she was a little bit shorter, but now like they're both
hmm
the same size. She's a
Huh.
little bit smaller, so I can't remember what the last weights were, but since we
Yeah.
moved them into this barn, they have
hmm
a lot more room to run around. So they
mm
almost do a dip on the weight for a
Hmm.
little bit just because of where they're going from being in our hutches,
Hmm.
which are right outside this barn. So the hutches are out there, they're for the newborns. And then when they're about 3 months old, we try to move them into a bigger pen where they can get exercise and get the hay and different grains that they need in order to grow.
That's
So
awesome.
Pinky is probably right at 450 now.
Okay. Yeah, we had
And
her at 450 at 6 months. So you think maybe she got a little taller, but she's maybe leveling out on weight until she can eat some more, maybe.
hmm, sorry. Yeah, so Pinky is probably, yeah, she's around 450, 460. She hasn't really,
Okay.
like I said, she's kind of leveling out right now. She's growing taller. So she's kind of like, she's not as, we always call them pot-bellied at that 6 month age. And then as they get a little bit bigger, they start to kind of even out.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
Autumn, she's over here by the
Yeah.
gate. She's
Yeah.
also a little bit bigger. She's more on the 475 to
Hmm.
500 size.
Hmm.
So Pinky's tall and long-legged, and Autumn isn't necessarily as tall as she is stout. So she's got a lot of strength in her. So both calves, they
Nice.
look alike. They are constantly around each other. These black calves you see in here, those are Angus crosses. Sometimes we'll breed our cows to a beef cow, and they all just get along fine. I've been
That's awesome.
followed by at least one of them all morning.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing, a little bit of their height and weight changes so we can go ahead and mark that on our growth charts. Now we had some folks curious about, you had mentioned like what are they eating to, at this point in life. Do you mind
Yeah.
sharing that with
Yeah,
us?
so we're gonna walk back to the other end of the pen where I have their feed samples,
That'd be
if I don't
awesome.
fall on my face first. This is a very live chat, guys, so you're seeing me walk in real time. Um,
Right.
so we own 450 acres here at the farm. 120 of it goes to hay ground. So right now they're getting fed. This is orchard grass hay, which is just a type of hay that's really high in nutrients for these calves. 14 is going to join me as I show all of this. But we grow this ourselves. We grow our own hay. They aren't getting fed much of the corn we grow, but we do grow our own corn. So
Oh.
we raise about 134 acres of corn every year and 120 acres of hay. Um, and the calves and the hutches, this is what they started with. They started with what's called, I call it a sweet feed. It's full of oats, corn, and molasses. And these cattle, they love it. It's like candy for them. And what they're eating now is a protein pellet. It's
Okay.
called 18% stocker feed. And basically, what the 18% means is that 18% of the total amount is just protein. So it's building muscles, it's building strength, and it's really helping them grow. And yes, as you can tell, they're all going to come over because I pulled the grain out. So I'm actually going to feed them this grain so you guys can watch them eat.
Awesome.
Because trust me, they love it. And again, they're all right here together.
Yeah. I love
So.
that you guys, I mean you specifically feed them a grain that's going to meet their needs at that time of their life. So as they get older, you're going to change it, provide something that they need. Now, so what's the next step after they're done with grain and hay? What are they going to move to next?
So right now they're down in this barn. For those that have been on the chat that were here last year, we were in a
Mhm.
different barn when we did this, and that barn is actually what we consider our calf barn.
Mhm.
So they will actually move from here to a stall type group where they will be able to have. We're still feeding them hay, but we also introduce some silage to them.
Gotcha.
And silage is corn silage, so some of that corn but chopped up finer with a little
Hmm.
bit of forage with it, which is the leaves and different things like that.
Hmm.
And they will still get that pellet that I showed you, the protein pellet, because that's still very crucial to their development right now.
Sure.
And then that will be what they'll mainly be get. They'll also get a different kind of hay called triticale, which is very nutrient dense and it also tastes like candy to them because of the way that it's made.
Hmm.
And they will continue to go through the groups until they are right at a year, year and a half. depending on what time of year it is, because we don't like throwing calves out on pasture in the wintertime. It's cold.
Gotcha.
There's not much grass. We like to keep them where we can get to them. But these guys will probably be out on a pasture this summer. So they will either go to the calf barn for a bit and then go to a pasture, or they'll skip the calf barn and go straight to a pasture. We
Hmm.
have 4 different small pastures for these calves where we first introduce them to grass. They get water, they get hay, and they also get that protein pellet again. When we move them to our yearling herd, which is directly across the road from our farm. It's a 60-acre pasture, and they actually get switched to a 20% stocker pellet. So they get a little more protein because they're walking around a lot more and everything. And it's like starting to downpour here. But if you can see in the video, there's some calves up on the hill up there, and that's actually one of the pastures we will put these calves in. Um,
Gotcha.
if those calves have moved by then. But when they're across the road, they also get a wormer pellet to help keep any kind of bugs off of them. Um, and then the females will come back to the farm. We will breed them here on the farm, and then they'll head down to a maternity pasture after they're bred. And the boys will actually go to another pasture where they will stay until they are 2.5, and then they will get on a truck and head to Kansas. And
Cool.
once they're off my farm, that's Kansas's job to do what they want to do with them. So,
That's cool though that you get to raise both, both male and female. Now, obviously,
mhm.
the males can't produce milk, so they're doing a different job. But that's neat that you're able to raise everything on your farm, and just I don't know. I think that's a really great culture that you have at your farm. Farmer Courtney, we've had a lot of tons of questions coming in, but one of a common one where they're just curious about how many cows you have on the farm in general, maybe milking cows and cows total.
Yeah, I should have probably mentioned. So we're milking 120 cows every day. So I have a girl that milks for me, but I also milk with her. So I milk all the cows twice a day, every day at 5:30 in the morning, and again at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. In total on our farm, we have around 350 head of cattle. And when I say head, I mean we have calves from the day they were born all the way up until my oldest cow is now 15 years old. So we
Wow.
have a little bit of everything here on the farm. So.
Oh my goodness, 15. That's incredible.
Yep, she's in
Because
retirement. I didn't
yeah.
she isn't able to produce milk anymore because she's just older, but I just couldn't let her go. So she's actually in a
Oh.
retirement lot, and she just hangs out with the rest of the cows and just does
Oh.
whatever she wants every day. And I know that if she gets sick or something, like I'll have to make a call, but as for now,
Right.
she's just in a retirement lot enjoying life.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
the big thing about our farm is like you also like I said earlier, we're a big family farm, but we're also with these calves from the moment they're born
Hmm.
until we until they're older. So I
Yeah.
mean, they're very
Yeah.
close to our hearts, and there's some of them that we just can't let go. So, and my 15-year-old is that one. So she's been
Yeah.
mine since I was, oh gosh, I'm 29 now. Since I was 14, she's been my calf. So,
Oh, oh my gosh. That's so sweet. I love that. There's going to be some special ones that always have a special place in our heart. So I get
always.
that. So that actually leads us into a good point. So obviously the one is 15, but I would say it's probably not the average cow's lifespan. That's just pretty unique to her, I would
Yeah.
say. Because cows, I think it's like approximately one cow year to like 10 human years. So she's
Hmm.
like surpassing the average. So what do you think
Yeah.
is the average age life of a cow on your farm?
So I'm not sure what it is like for the year, like for the national average or anything, but I know that
Hmm.
our herd is somewhat older.
Hmm.
So the average age on our herd is anywhere from 7 to 8 years old.
Okay.
So we have older cows. We are so when we breed cows, we breed for genetics and we breed for health traits. So our cows last a lot longer than some do. So we're
Sure.
always looking just to make sure that they're healthy and make sure that they're growing correctly. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in that lifetime, we've got some friends curious, like Mrs. Kelly and a couple other classes. They're wondering how old will they be when they start producing milk?
So they're anywhere from 2 to 3 years old. So it's kind of the old style. So we built a new barn in 2017, but before that we had 130 cows in one barn that was only big enough to hold 80 cows. So and that happens. So back then we wouldn't breed our heifers until they were almost 2 because we wanted to make sure they were big enough to be able to make it with all the other cows. But usually around 2 to 3 years old, they're calving out and they start their life in the milk herd. They're milking in the milk herd about 305 days, and then they'll have a calf. And when they get ready to have a calf, we put them on vacation, is what I call it. So they go into another lot for 60 days, they have their baby, and then they come back. So they do
Cool.
well.
So when our Autumn and Pinky will be about 2-ish, they'll have their first calf and they'll get to join the milking herd and get to produce milk that we get to eat and drink. We had some questions coming in. They were curious if you happen to know like a brand or a product that your milk tends to typically go into, that if they were buying it, it could possibly be coming from your farm.
So my farm produces milk that ends up going to usually Food Lion or even Walmart brand. So it's just the
Huh.
regular store brand.
Yeah.
Sometimes to Kroger. And then once a year, our milk actually goes down to North Carolina to Ashe County and gets made into cheese. So, but
Hmm.
usually you can buy us if we get the Food Lion brand or Walmart brand, you're most likely getting our milk.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And just because they all look a lot alike right now, do you mind just pointing out which one is which again? So everyone that's watching, they know which one's Pinky and which one's Autumn.
This one's Autumn, and then
Gotcha.
Pinky
With like
just
the
yeah,
triangle
Pinky's right
white.
now. Autumn's there, Pinky's here. I gotta look at their noses because Pinky has a bright pink nose. That's why she got
Yes.
the name Pinky. But yes, that's Pinky. They're next to each other now. So
Oh.
Pinky and Autumn,
And then the beefer in the middle.
of course they are, because our cattle are very docile. Meaning they're very calm, very tame. They like to be pet. They like to be fed. They like to be
Mhm.
around people. Which is a huge help for us in a lot of ways, but can also be a little dangerous at times.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We want to make sure they get to be a lot bigger than us, right? How big does
yeah.
a full-grown cow get to be?
So the national average is 1,500 pounds, but my cows are 1,700 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
So we always have a little bit on the bigger side. But Autumn and Pinky's moms are now expecting to have another calf. And both of them Autumn's mom is a little bit bigger than Pinky's.
Okay.
So Pinky's mom is right around 1,700 pounds and Autumn's is right around 1,800 pounds.
Wow.
So, and that kind of sort of, you can see that kind of with both of them. Like I said, Pinky's more long-legged.
Hmm.
And that's kind of how her mom is. She doesn't have a whole lot of stoutness to her. And
Hmm.
Autumn's mom is very stout, and so is Autumn. So it kind of
That's
shows
right.
in their
It's fun.
calves too. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Interesting.
yeah. So for anyone so I started with Discover Dairy doing the adopt a cow 4 years ago.
Hmm.
So the ones that I had the very first year, they are all pregnant with their second calves now.
Oh.
And the ones from last year are actually about to come back to the farm to be bred. So yeah, it's a cool full circle moment. So
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Oh, we're so excited for Autumn and Pinky to be going and doing the same thing on your farm someday. For now, they'll just get to be lazy and hang out with their friends and eat and relax, which is certainly a lot of fun. We are noticing, and you've mentioned it a couple of times too, that they've got the fancy ear tags in their ears. Can you just talk about why those
yeah.
are important and why you use them?
Yeah, so if I could touch them, I'd actually show you guys a tag. But so the males on our farm have orange tags in their ear with numbers,
Hmm.
and the orange tags basically just identify from a far distance that they're a male, and we can use the numbers in case one of them gets sick, hurt, or anything along those lines. Our
Gotcha.
heifers, which are our females, they have yellow tags in their ears, and when they're calves like Pinky and Autumn are right now,
Hmm.
those tags have their mother's name on it. They have their farm ID tag. So when I go to breed them, or if they get sick or something,
Hmm.
or hurt, one of the employees or one of us can identify, oh, okay, so like for example, Autumn is 9658, or no, Pinky's
Hmm.
9658.
Mhm.
So automatically 9658 is sick. You need to take care of her because we have so many cows. We can't remember all of the names. Plus, I'm the only
Yeah.
one that actually names the calves. So, and then the name under it. So like Pinky's, the name is Gibson. That was her father's name.
Gotcha.
And then the digits underneath are her birth date. So the cool part is that both Pinky and Autumn were born on September 9th, 2024.
Yeah. Oh my
So
goodness. So they not only look a lot alike, but they were also born on the same day and they are best buds. It
yeah,
seems like they hang out all the time together. So that's
they
pretty cool.
really do. I've never had two heifers for this group that stay together as much as these two do. So
Oh.
it's been kind of cool. They also, when they were in the hutches, they were side by side as well.
Hmm.
And then when they were born, their mothers calved like right next to each other. So
Oh.
I guess they were
They,
meant to be twins in a
right?
sense.
Aw, that's cute. We
So.
had a question about sleep. We were curious, do they have a bedtime? Do they take naps? Do they have an eating time? Like, do they have a schedule or do they just kind of do what they want?
So they have a feed schedule. So we feed them on Saturdays. I do all the feeding because we let our one employee off that day. So on Saturdays they get fed at 6 a.m. and 2 p.m. But during the day they do whatever they want. I mean, they can hang out, they can drink water, eat hay, sleep whenever they want. Um, I can't even remember how much a cow's supposed to sleep a day, but I'm sure as much as I see them just completely asleep, like sometimes they'll sleep so hard I have to go up to them and poke them to make sure they're okay. So, but other than feeding times, we leave the calves alone. 2 weeks ago, we got this group of calves up specifics and we gave them their vaccines because we vaccinate them for pneumonia and we vaccinate them for any stomach problems they may have.
Hmm.
And we also do what's called a wormer, which just means we keep any kind of bugs out of their stomach. So we did that a couple weeks ago, but other than that, these calves have stayed in this pen and they just get to do whatever they want and they can eat whenever they want. And then we feed them the grain at a specific time each day. So
Sure.
on a normal
Yeah.
day, they get fed at 7 and 3 when I have to feed at 6 and 2, but they don't seem to mind the hour difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as you
Oh,
can
well,
tell,
thank
like I
you.
don't normally feed them right now, but I was like, well, I've already got the grain down. Let's give them a little extra treat today. And as you can tell, they thoroughly enjoyed it.
I was gonna say they don't think like it doesn't look like they're complaining, so I I think they're okay with a little extra treat for the day. Clearly, they're devouring the other buckets too.
Yeah. So,
Oh
and in
my
the other
goodness.
bucket, I don't know why 14 did that, but in the other bucket, I also have all of the letters I received this year from all
Oh.
of the different schools. I kept them in the envelopes because right now it is absolutely downpouring outside. And the wind has also been in and out. So I kept them in the envelopes this year, but I just want to thank you guys very much for all of these letters. As you can
Oh.
tell, they have all been opened, and I have
Mhm.
actually shared them with some of the calves. Um,
Oh.
so but
I
yeah,
love that.
so I love receiving the letters from you guys. It's always nice to see them. It's also cool to see which schools are close by here, which
Hmm.
schools are hours from here, and which
Hmm.
schools are seeing what we're doing. So
Yeah.
I
Oh.
always look forward to receiving these in the mail. My grandfather usually picks up the mail every day, and he looks at me. He's like, "All right, you got another fan mail package today."
Aw.
So, but I'm like,
That's
I'm not
adorable.
the one. It's my calves getting them.
Right? Yeah. Oh, it's for you too. They love you too, Farmer Courtney. Hey, we are gonna start wrapping up here. I appreciate you sharing that and truly thank you all for sharing and sending all that love to Farmer Courtney and your calves. They love reading your mail. They love seeing how excited you are. It means the world to us that you interact and want to share that excitement with them. Farmer Courtney, we had a question from a couple of people to wrap up here.
Uh-huh.
And we can tie in with what I was hoping to wrap up with too. We had some folks just curious, like maybe what's the most challenging being a dairy farmer? What's the most exciting and favorite part? And what's your why? So just kind of like, all encompass, just a little bit about being a dairy farmer as a career.
Well, I kind of laugh at the challenge question because personally, the challenge for me is getting up in the morning because I hate mornings, which I think a lot of people can relate to. But the biggest challenge overall is just, we work so many long hours and we do so many different things every day. We have the elements to deal with, meaning environmental. Like right now, it's pouring down rain. And in the videos you guys saw this year, I would take the videos and like one day it was like 17 degrees down here. The
Mhm.
next time I took a video, it was like 60 degrees. So one of the biggest challenges is just the weather overall. We had a drought last year. We've had flood years. Like it's
Sure.
always
Yeah.
something. Um, as far as my favorite part is honestly seeing what we're able to create, whether it's
Mm.
the having a newborn calf and watching them grow all the way up, because that's one of the coolest things that I always thought was just
Mhm.
seeing how they can go from this little 80-pound thing to these 1,700-pound animals that we raise each and
Yeah.
every day. Also on the crop side, like I can plant a tiny seed and watch it grow into this huge plant, very nutritious thing that can feed all of these animals. So that's
Amazing.
one of my greatest things. My why for what I do every day is this is my life. This is what I didn't necessarily know that I wanted to do with my life.
Mhm.
I'm very big into softball and sports. So I always thought I was going to do something with sports medicine. But when
Mm.
I was in high school, I got very close to the cows and realized that this
Oh,
is what I want to do. This is where my passion is. I've always said that if you're not passionate about something, then you shouldn't be doing it. And I'm passionate about my herd. I want to see them grow. I want to see them become the great things that I know they can be.
right.
Um, it's a family thing, sure, and I've always said that it's in my blood. It's what I've always wanted to do, and I've always loved the cows, always loved everything we do with them. I love seeing the different things we do every day. It might be challenging with the weather, but it's still fun because we don't do the same thing every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Oh, oh my
one of my
goodness.
favorite quotes is by Ray Bradbury, and it's
Mhm.
the things you do should be the things that you love, and the things you love should be the things you do. And that's how I feel about farming. This is what I love. This is what I'm doing. This is where I want to be and where I've always wanted to be. So,
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Farmer Courtney, for sharing that with us. We could not say thank you enough for your dedication and hard work to your animals, to your farm, to the dairy industry. On a selfish note, we love our milk, cheese, yogurt, ice cream. So it would, without you,
me
we
too.
wouldn't be able to enjoy all those amazing things. But truly, beyond that, you guys have been around for a long time, right? Hundreds of
Yep.
years. So you can't do that without being good members of the community, good stewards of the land. You've obviously been doing a good job taking care of the animals. So just history and years of just being great stewards of the land and great farmers. We really say thank you for that and being a great model and being part of this program and sharing just a tiny piece of that with us with through Pinky and Autumn. So thank you so much for your time in this program. We've loved it.
Yeah,
And
and I've loved getting to know you guys. Even though the program, this is kind of the last big shebang of the program. Feel free to send me more letters. Feel free to ask me how the calves are doing. I'm always up for answering questions, and yeah,
yeah,
so it's
yeah,
been great
absolutely.
this year.
Yeah, yeah, you know a farmer now, right? So ask a
Yeah.
farmer, not Google, if you've got questions, and keep coming back to learn more. Farmer Courtney's excited to hear from you. We're excited to hear from you. And thank you all for joining the program and caring about agriculture in the classroom. We really appreciate you teachers taking the time to do this program. And kids, thanks for getting so excited about the calves and just loving them like they're your own. It's a lot of fun getting to see you all get so excited over the things that we love too, which are dairy cows. So thank you all for being in the program. We look forward to having you next year. Don't forget registration reopens on May 1st. So we're excited to have you enroll. Until then, we hope you all have a great summer.